on the flip side, I'm never one to be like super negative, but what do you think are some things that are holding us back from reaching our potential as entrepreneurs in that field? As Polynesians, what are some of the things that maybe naturally we have as Polynesians that are hurting us, that are not actually helping us get to those goals that we want to reach?
Yeah, I think we've lost some of the courage that our parents had. And I don't know why, but they came, they left the country that they were comfortable with. They left their friends, their home, their job, everything. Came over to a different country, completely different, a language, a food they didn't understand or recognize. And they started businesses and didn't speak the language great, but they figured it out. And somehow we're scared to do the same. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
With 10 times the resources available to us.
Yeah. I mean, you can Google this stuff, right? And just like, oh, this is how you start a company. But for some reason, there's a hesitancy to jump in. And I think almost, I don't want to get too negative, but almost a laziness. We've gotten too comfortable with, I just want the job that's going to help provide for me. Enough. And I just think there's so much more potential for our people and our youth and our adults that we're just so quick to accept mediocrity. And I can't tell you how many cousins and family members, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you've graduated high school. What are you going to do? And they say, oh, well, this cousin or this uncle has a job for me and I'm just going to work in this field. And there's not a field that's bad, but they're doing it because it's easy and it's just a shoe-in. I'm going to go work at Delta. What?
Hey, don't say Delta. Don't just explain it and then say it.
We were not going to talk about it.
Don't put the name on it.
I love Delta. I fly Delta.
Come on now.
That's just one example, right? And it's just like a shoe-in. It's great. It's a great place to start off after high school or just right out of. It's a starting place. But then in some place in the years after that, we forget, oh, I actually wanted to start my own company. Oh, I actually wanted to do this. I actually wanted to go to school and study this, or I wanted to learn this trade. And we just get stuck. And I think just we have to raise our vision of where we're at and what we actually want to accomplish. I say this can be controversial, but it shouldn't be. I just think like our parents came with very little and they've reached a point. If we don't reach that point or higher, like that's sad. That's really, really sad.
Well, you say that, but it's true. And as part of that, our parents reached that level, not so that we could go up to that level too.
Yeah.
Like if you ask any parent, they always want their children to do more. That's the reason why they sacrifice so much, right? And so I love that. I don't think that's controversial. Unless the truth is controversial, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the truth is going to hurt. And I hope people actually evaluate that, because everyone is probably thinking of the other person they know, like, yeah, dude, that person, they're just below their parents or just at. And I hope people actually look internally and say, where am I at? Where do I actually want to be?
Yeah.
I hope people who listen actually take that inventory and dream a little bit, man. Like one thing this last year or so, I made a list of just a few things that are goals that would make me scared. Almost a feeling like if you've ever jumped out of a plane and gone skydiving, or recently this last year.
I want to.
It's dope. This last year, what you need to do, the coolest thing I've ever done, I think, in my life, is in Moab, they do a rope swing. You drop 300, 400 feet.
That looks so sick.
Oh my gosh. I mean, just like that feeling, like, oh shoot. Like that's what I want to feel like when I write these goals down. And if you don't feel that, the goal's not big enough.
Yeah.
That's I think the thing that I've realized this past year is I gotta have goals that I'm scared of, that I'm almost scared to tell anyone about, because if I said it, people would think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But also those are the things that I actually really believe that I'm capable of, or that I actually really want.
Yeah. How important is it for you to surround people or surround yourself with people who, when they hear your impossible goals, they're more likely to be like, dude, let's go. I love that. You're crazy, but I love that.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You
Yeah.
know, how important is it to surround yourself with that kind of an atmosphere if that's what your mindset is like?
You have to. And if you're not around those type of people, they're pulling you down. That's the real of it, is if you say something like, hey, I want to start a business, and they're like, "Pfft, are you dumb? Like, you think you can start a business? What business are you going to do?" If you get those reactions, you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people.
Yep.
There's a saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If people are bringing that average down, you've got to find a new circle. And sometimes, sadly, it's family, right? And that doesn't mean you need to stop loving them, but it just means maybe I spend a little less time, because every time I'm around this family member, they're negative. And anytime I tell them my dream or goal, they're like, dude, you can't do that. And they may know the old you. They may know the younger you that didn't have these dreams and always messed up and wasn't that sharp in the classroom. But we've changed. We've, done a lot of work on ourselves and have become better. And so I think that's another thing that I've changed in the last, 2-ish years, is really thinking about who I surround myself with. I don't say yes to everything anymore. I'm to a point in my life that everyone that I'm around is pretty much intentional, unless I have to be there, right?
Yeah.
And I started off my career by saying yes to everything, and yes, I'll take every opportunity, I'll take every lunch, I'll do everything I can. And now I'm to the point that I have to be selfish with my time, because if not, then that's taking away time from my family. That's taking away time from serving in the church and serving God. It's taking away time from my business. And so you've got to be around people that are supporting you, that are uplifting you, and that are just pushing you to want to be better. And I think this is crazy, because typically if you're around someone, they kind of stay average, and then you kind of leave them after time. My wife, I think the reason why I knew that she was the one is because she's always made me feel like I needed to do more. I wanted to be better for her. And throughout, we've hit 12 years yesterday, there's always just been that feeling of she makes me feel like I want to be better. Yeah. And I think you've just got to surround yourself around those type of people. I'm not telling you to divorce your wife or anything, if that's the case, but you might need to have a hard discussion, be like, hey, you make me feel bad every time around you. Let's have a hard conversation. But
sometimes a hard conversation is the only thing that's needed, though, and that's the only thing you're avoiding. And once you have the hard decision or the hard conversation, the other side of it, you look back and laugh like, really? Was it really that hard? Like, this reward of having this hard conversation was so worth it.